This is it, focus team. One last push. With the final surge of energy, the enemy ship collapsed in the atmosphere, tumbling into the ice below. The fleet, witnessing their leader destroyed, began to retreat, breaking formation, confusion spreading through their ranks. The battle had been won, for now. But Elias knew the war was far from over. The Dark Fleet might retreat, but their intelligence, strategy, and numbers were formidable. Humanity had survived this encounter not through brute strength, but through courage, ingenuity, and the willingness to take risks that others would not. As the spire settled into quiet once again, the alien beside them pulsed softly, almost in relief. Elias looked at Mara. "We held them off today, but the real test, the one that will decide the future, is still ahead." Outside, the stars glimmered coldly, silent witnesses to the courage of a small human team facing impossible odds. Inside, humanity had proven once again that even against the most feared species in the galaxy, ingenuity, courage, and determination could change the course of events. The call for help had been answered. But the war for survival was only beginning. The icy planet was silent again, but the tension in the air was palpable. The Dark Fleet had retreated, battered and broken, but Elias Varn knew the victory was only temporary. The alien spire pulsed softly as if breathing, its energy now stable thanks to the humans' intervention. The team had survived the first wave, but the threat looming over the galaxy was far from gone. "Commander," Mara said, scanning the displays, "the weapon is stable. The enemy fleet is retreating and the aliens' energy readings are normal. We did it." Elias allowed himself a brief smile, though his eyes remained sharp. "Yes, Mara, but this isn't just about survival. It's about understanding, about proving that humans, small, fragile, and underestimated, can make a difference, even against the most feared species in the galaxy." The alien that had guided them stepped forward, its glowing limbs pulsing with what Elias felt was gratitude. It had survived because humans had taken risks, used their minds, and shown courage. And in that moment, Elias realized something profound. Intelligence and bravery could rival raw strength and fearsome reputation. Mara adjusted the translator device. The alien emitted a series of pulses and tones. The translator interpreted them. "You are not like the others. You fight with reason and heart. You have earned trust," Elias nodded solemnly. "We didn't do it for trust. We did it because it was right. Because lives, millions of lives, depended on it. And because humanity never gives up." Outside the spire, the retreating fleet shimmered in the distance. Their engines burned bright as they vanished into the black void, leaving the icy planet untouched, for now. But Elias knew they would return, smarter, faster, stronger. Humanity had to be ready. The alien guided the humans deeper into the spire, revealing chambers filled with knowledge, maps of the galaxy, energy schematics, and information about civilizations long gone. Elias realized that this was more than a weapon. It was a repository of intelligence, a tool of survival, and now, with careful stewardship, it could help protect countless worlds. "Commander," Mara said, her voice soft, "this could change everything. We have knowledge, technology, insight into threats we never even imagined. This is humanity's chance to be more than survivors. We could become guardians," Elias smiled faintly. "Guardians, yes, but first we survive, and then we prepare. Humanity's path is never easy, but it's always worth it, and we've just taken the first step." The alien pulsed once more, sending a wave of energy that seemed to flow through the chamber like a heartbeat. Elias felt it in his chest, a mixture of hope and awe. This fragile team of humans, facing a galaxy filled with terrifying species and unimaginable dangers, had prevailed, not through overwhelming force, but through ingenuity, courage, and determination. Mara looked out through the spire's viewports. The stars shimmered coldly, silent witnesses to the battle that had just taken place. "Commander," "They'll remember this. Humans are not to be underestimated." "Not ever," Elias nodded, "and we'll make sure they don't forget. Humanity fights smart, adapts, and never gives up. That's our strength." The alien pulsed brightly one final time, then receded into the spire, leaving the humans in quiet reflection. They had survived. They had won, and in doing so, they had proven something greater than strategy or strength. They had shown that even the most feared species in the galaxy could be challenged by courage, determination, and ingenuity. Elias turned to Mara and the rest of the team. We've answered the call. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy is full of danger, but it's also full of opportunity and humanity. Humanity is ready. The team gathered on the spire's highest platform, looking out at the icy plains and the dark void beyond. Stars twinkled like distant flames, silent witnesses to the courage of a few humans who had stood against fear itself. And somewhere across the galaxy, species that once laughed at Earth's legends now paused, reconsidering the underestimated force that was humanity. As they prepared to depart, Elias felt a surge of pride. Humanity had faced the impossible, outwitted a terrifying enemy, and survived. And in the quiet hum of the alien spire, he knew that this victory was more than survival. It was a statement. When the call for help echoes across the stars, humanity will answer. With courage, with ingenuity, and with an unbreakable spirit. The stars awaited them, endless and mysterious. And humanity, once underestimated, was ready to rise. Being tested, and every shadow whispered a warning. The hidden threat was real, and it would not wait. The call for help was no longer just a signal. It was a race against annihilation. And humanity had only just begun to answer. Elias stood in the center of the spire's control chamber, staring at the dormant weapon partially hidden behind the glowing walls. The alien beside him emitted a low pulse vibrating across the floor as if urging caution. Every instinct screamed danger. Every shadow whispered the presence of enemies approaching. Outside, the dark ships had entered the system, their engines visible even through the thick atmosphere of the icy planet. "We need a plan," Elias said, his voice calm but firm. "Charging in blindly will get us killed. We have limited resources, but we have brains. And that's something they don't expect." Mara nodded, her fingers flying over the portable console. "The alien spire is alive, Commander. It reacts to our presence, but it also responds to logic and patterns. If we can interface with its systems, maybe we can use it against them." Elias's eyes lit up. "Exactly. We need to turn their own advantage into ours, and quickly. Prepare the drones. We'll map the weapons systems, trace the energy flows, and see how to control, or at least disable, it temporarily." The team worked fast, their movements synchronized, each member knowing the stakes. Small drones buzzed through the spire's corridors, scanning, analyzing, mapping every shadow, every pulse of energy. The alien hovered nearby, guiding them, its glowing limbs signaling pathways that were safe and ones that were trapped. Hours, or maybe minutes, time was hard to measure here, passed in tense silence. The drones returned data in streams of light and symbols, which Mara translated on the spot. "Commander, it's intricate. This weapon is controlled by the spire itself. We can't destroy it, but we can manipulate the energy flow to block its activation sequence temporarily." Elias nodded. "Good, that buys us time. That's all we need." He turned to the alien. "We need you to stay with us. You know this place better than anyone. Guide us, and we promise we'll protect you." The alien's pulse quickened, almost as if it understood, approving the plan. As they worked, alarms blared faintly from the orbiting ships. The dark fleet was moving closer, preparing for a strike. Elias clenched his jaw. "They're faster than we thought. They want this weapon, and they won't wait. We need to move to Phase 2, setting traps, misleading their sensors. Anything to slow them down until we can activate the spire's defenses." The team deployed decoy drones, mimicking the spire's energy patterns to confuse the enemy ships. Lights blinked, shadows shifted, and the dark vessels outside fired on false targets, wasting precious time and ammunition. Elias and Mara exchanged a brief nod. "The plan was working. Commander," Mara said, pointing to the screen. "We found a weak point. A small energy node controlling part of the weapon's activation. If we can manipulate it, we can delay the weapon for hours, maybe days, without alerting the enemy." Elias made his decision immediately. "Then that's what we'll do. Mara, you and I take the node. The rest of the team coordinates with the alien, keeping the spire's system stable." The corridors twisted and pulsed as Elias and Mara advanced, the walls glowing brighter with each step. The shadow of the hidden threat moved around them, but the alien's guidance kept them safe. Reaching the node, Elias began interfacing with the control panel. his fingers moving with practiced precision. The energy flowed beneath his fingertips, raw and chaotic, but he focused, thinking logically using human ingenuity. Mara assisted, rerouting sequences, stabilizing the flow. Slowly, carefully, the node's power began to respond. The weapon's core energy pulsed, then slowed, then dimmed. Outside, the dark ships fired again, but their attacks had little effect. The spire's defenses, partially activated by Elias's intervention, shielded them from the bombardment. Elias exhaled, a small smile breaking through his tense expression. It's working. They don't know what hit them. Yet. But the sense of urgency never left him. The hidden threat was still out there, moving, watching. Every second counted. They were holding back a force that could destroy fleets and planets. Yet, in the midst of fear and uncertainty, humanity had done what it did best: improvise, adapt, and survive. The alien hovered near the node, emitting pulses of light in appreciation. Elias felt a surge of hope. This was more than a mission. It was proof that even against overwhelming odds, humans could turn the tide with cleverness, courage, and cooperation. Mara glanced at him, eyes wide with realization. "Commander, if we can hold them here long enough, Earth could prepare. We could save billions of lives." Elias nodded, determination hardening his features. "Then we hold, and we fight. No matter what comes next, humanity will answer the call." Above them, the dark fleet loomed, unaware that their plan was unraveling. Below them, the spire thrummed with life, its alien intelligence now allied, however reluctantly, with humans. And in that frozen, glowing chamber, a small team of humans had once again proven that ingenuity could defy even the most terrifying odds. The battle was far from over. But for now, hope pulsed alongside fear, and humanity was ready for whatever the stars threw at them next. Outside the icy planet, the dark fleet moved like shadows across the stars. Hundreds of ships, massive and sleek, cut through space with deadly precision. Inside the alien spire, Commander Elias Varn and his team prepared for what they knew was inevitable: the first full-scale confrontation. "Commander," Mara said, her voice tight with tension, "their ships are coordinating perfectly. If we don't act fast, they'll breach the atmosphere and destroy the spire, and possibly the planet." Elias tightened his grip on his sidearm. "Then we make the first move. Human ingenuity beats numbers every time. Deploy the drones, activate the spire's defenses, and get ready for anything." The spire pulsed brighter, its alien energy responding to Elias's commands. Drones zipped through corridors and out onto the icy plains, carrying energy pulses that mimicked weapons fire. Outside, the dark fleet's sensors picked up the false signals, confusing their targeting systems. One by one, their ships fired on empty coordinates, wasting ammunition and precious time. Elias and Mara stayed inside the control chamber, interfacing directly with the spire. The alien hovered near them, its glowing limbs casting eerie shadows across the walls. Every pulse of its energy seemed to guide their actions, offering insight into the weapon systems and defenses of the spire. Then, without warning, the first real attack came. One of the enemy ships broke through the icy atmosphere, firing beams of destructive energy at the spire. The shields flared, and alarms screamed as the chamber shook violently. Sparks flew from the consoles and the team ducked instinctively. "Brace yourselves," Elias shouted. "Activate the secondary shields and reroute power to the energy nodes. We can hold them." Mara's fingers flew over the control panel, rerouting power, stabilizing the energy flows. The spire responded, firing energy pulses from the walls toward the attacking ship. The beam struck with precise accuracy, disabling the vessel before it could reach the surface. "One down," Elias muttered, adrenaline pumping. "But there are hundreds more. We need a strategy that can hold them off." He looked at Mara. "We'll use their own speed against them, lead them into the traps we set with the drones, confuse their formations, keep them guessing." As the battle raged outside, shadows shifted inside the spire. The hidden threat, intelligent and massive, moved just beyond the team's sensors, watching, assessing. Elias realized that they were not only fighting the fleet outside, but also navigating the dangerous unknown within the spire. Every step, every action required precision and courage. Hours, or maybe minutes' time had lost meaning, passed in a blur of beams, alarms, and calculated maneuvers. The Dark Fleet was relentless, but the humans and their alien ally were clever. Every attack was countered with traps, energy pulses, and tactical misdirection. Slowly, the balance began to shift. The fleet's formation broke, ships colliding or retreating under precise counterattacks. Elias allowed himself a brief moment to breathe. "We're doing it," he said, determination in his voice. "We're holding them off. Humanity won't back down no matter the odds." Mara glanced at the alien, its glowing pulses intensifying. "They're responding to us and adapting. We're learning. They're learning. This fight, it's not just about strength. It's about cleverness, timing, and courage. And humans, we have plenty of all three." Suddenly, a massive shadow appeared outside, larger than any ship. The enemy fleet's leader had arrived, a colossal vessel bristling with weapons, moving with terrifying speed. Elias' heart sank. That's it. That's their command ship. If it lands, we could lose everything. Mara's hands trembled over the controls. "We have one chance. We can use the spire to lure it into the trap. But it has to be perfect," Elias nodded. "Do it. Humanity doesn't give up." "Not now. Not ever." The spire pulsed with energy. Beams of light stretching across the icy landscape, creating illusions and false targets. The colossal enemy ship fired relentlessly, striking shadows instead of the real humans. As it focused on the wrong coordinates, the human team and the alien concentrated their combined energy, delivering a precise, coordinated strike. The command ship faltered. Shields flickering, engines struggling. One more calculated attack and it would be disabled. Elias clenched his fists, heart pounding. The unknown waited for them inside, and humanity had just stepped through the door. The inside of the alien spire was unlike anything Elias Varn had ever seen. The walls pulsed with soft, glowing lines like veins of light running through living stone. The air hummed faintly, charged with energy that made the hairs on his arms stand up. Every step the crew took echoed strangely, as if the building itself was listening. "Commander." "This place," Mara whispered, scanning the environment with her device. "It's alive in a way. The energy readings, it's intelligent, not just machinery. Something is controlling it." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of every shadow around them. "Keep your focus. Eyes and ears open. This isn't just a building, it's a warning." They moved deeper into the spire, following the pulsing light that seemed to guide them toward the source of the distress signal. The corridors twisted and turned, sometimes opening into vast chambers where massive alien machinery hummed silently, and sometimes narrowing into claustrophobic tunnels where the walls seemed almost to breathe. Suddenly, a massive shadow flickered across the far end of the chamber. The crew froze. The air grew heavy and the temperature seemed to drop, as if the presence was sucking warmth from the room. "Did you see that?" Mara whispered. Elias nodded. "Yes, and it's watching us." The shadow moved again, this time faster, more deliberate. A shape began to take form, tall, sleek, and intimidating, with limbs that seemed too long for its body. Its eyes, or what passed for eyes, glowed faintly, scanning the humans. Every instinct in Elias's body screamed danger, but he forced himself to stay calm. "Identify yourself," he called, his voice steady. The alien stopped, tilting its head as if considering the question. Then, without warning, it emitted a sound that resonated in the walls. Low, guttural, but filled with unmistakable intelligence. The sound made the shuttle's equipment flicker, screens flashing as though trying to process it. Mara stepped closer, holding a translator device. "Commander, I think it's trying to communicate." The pulses in the air, their language patterns, but different, complex. Elias swallowed. "Try to respond carefully." As Mara adjusted the translator, the alien's form shifted. It moved with incredible speed, circling them, studying, testing. Despite its size, it made no aggressive move, but its presence was enough to make the team feel small, vulnerable. Then the truth hit Elias. This was not a mindless predator. This was a species of intelligence, feared across the galaxy for its unmatched strength and cunning. The legends they had heard as children, stories of fleets destroyed and worlds conquered, were real. And now, one of the most feared species in the galaxy was standing in front of him. The alien finally paused, lowering its limbs slightly, as if signaling a willingness to observe. Mara tried again, carefully sending a sequence of pulses through the translator, repeating the pattern from the distress signal. The alien tilted its head and then, almost imperceptibly, moved toward a wall panel. With a flick of a limb, the panel lit up, displaying a holographic map of nearby star systems. A particular system was highlighted. Earth. Elias's heart raced. It knows about us, he whispered. It was coming here. The alien's posture shifted almost impatiently, as if frustrated that the humans had reached it before it could act. It emitted another series of sounds, this time louder, more urgent, vibrating through the chamber. The translator picked up fragments. Help. Protect. Imminent danger. Elias exchanged a tense glance with Mara. It's asking for help. But from what? And why now? Before anyone could react, the shadow moved again, faster than before, disappearing down a corridor that led further into the spire. The crew had no choice but to follow, their every step echoing in the strange, living corridors. The signal was growing stronger, more urgent, pulling them toward the heart of the structure. Suddenly, alarms blared from the shuttle, echoing faintly even inside the spire. Sensors had picked up incoming ships in orbit, massive, dark, and fast. Elias' stomach sunk. They're here, he muttered. The ones we've all feared. The legends. And they've come for this planet. Mara's hands trembled as she tried to maintain focus on the translator. Commander, if they take the alien, or destroy it, Earth could be next. This is bigger than we imagined. Elias tightened his grip on his sidearm. We won't let that happen. Not if we can stop it. Get the shuttle ready and prepare for anything. This is only the beginning. The alien, sensing the threat, extended a limb toward them. Not aggressively, but in a gesture of trust. It was clear. It needed humans. And if humanity failed to act, the consequences would echo across the stars. Outside, the dark ships began to descend, blotting out the icy sky. Inside, the team advanced deeper, hearts pounding, every instinct screaming danger. The first contact had been made, but the real test, a battle of wits, courage, and survival, was only beginning. The most feared species in the galaxy had arrived, and humanity had no choice but to answer the call. The deeper Elias and his team moved into the alien spire, the more the structure seemed alive. The walls pulsed with light, shifting patterns that made it feel like the building itself was breathing. Every step echoed with a strange resonance, as if warning them that they were being watched. The alien that had led them this far now moved silently ahead, its glowing limbs casting long shadows across the icy floors. Commander, Mara whispered, her voice tight with tension. The readings? They're off the charts. This energy, it's not just powering the spire. Something else is here, hidden. Something dangerous. Elias nodded slowly. He had felt it too, a presence, subtle but unmistakable, lurking in the corridors, waiting. Stay alert. Every sensor, every scanner. Watch the shadows. We can't afford surprises. The team advanced cautiously, their boots crunching against the icy debris littering the floor. Broken machinery hummed faintly, some emitting sparks, others vibrating with a low alien frequency. The alien led them to a chamber larger than anything humans had ever constructed. The ceiling arched high above, glowing softly, and strange symbols lined the walls, shifting patterns that seemed to communicate silently. Mara's eyes widened. These symbols, they're not language. They're a warning. Look at this, they change when we move closer. It's like they know we're here. Elias clenched his jaw. Good, keep scanning. And remember, we're guests here, technically. But if this hidden presence senses us as threats, we could be in real trouble. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the room faster than the eye could follow. The team froze. The alien that had guided them let out a low, vibrating hum as if acknowledging the presence. Elias' heart pounded. Whatever it was intelligent and massive. It's not just one, Mara whispered. There's more than one. Something is controlling this place. And it's not friendly to intruders. Elias raised his hand, signaling the team to hold position. He scanned the room, looking for any clue, any weakness. The spire had clearly survived centuries, possibly millennia, of attacks, but something had remained intact, hidden, waiting. As they moved toward a central control chamber, the alien suddenly stopped and extended a limb toward a panel. Light flickered across the walls, revealing holographic images of countless star systems. One system in particular glowed brightly. Earth. Elias's stomach sank. It knows about us. It's aware of our planet, and if it's hostile, this could be a warning. Or a threat, Mara shivered. Commander, there's more. Look at these readings, ships, movement. It's not local. Something large is heading toward this system, and it's fast. Very fast, the team exchanged tense glances. Every instinct screamed danger. They had come to investigate a signal, a call for help, but now they realized that the situation was far bigger. The alien they were helping was not just in danger. It had enemies, and those enemies were on the move. Elias took a deep breath. We need to find out what this hidden threat is. And we need to prepare, because if we fail, Earth could be next. The alien led them deeper into the chamber. The walls pulsed with more intensity, lighting up pathways that had previously been invisible. In one corner, partially hidden behind a wall of energy, the team discovered a large dormant structure, massive and metallic, unlike anything they had seen before. The sensors went wild. "Commander, this is a weapon," Mara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "And it's huge, possibly capable of destroying entire fleets." Elias swallowed hard. "Then this is why the aliens are here. This is the reason they're being hunted. And if we don't act, this weapon could fall into the wrong hands." A low rumble shook the floor and the lights flickered. Shadows moved along the walls as if the hidden threat had sensed their discovery. The alien beside them emitted a warning pulse vibrating through the chamber. Elias realized that time was running out. "Prepare the shuttle," he ordered. "We need to warn Command, and we need to figure out how to protect this place and Earth from whatever is coming." The hidden threat had made itself known, a presence both terrifying and intelligent, lurking in the spire's depths. And now humanity was caught in a race against time, facing enemies whose power was beyond comprehension. Outside, dark ships moved through space with calculated precision, their engines glowing ominously. Inside, the team prepared to face the unknown, knowing that the fate of the alien and perhaps the galaxy rested in their hands. Every heartbeat echoed in Elias's chest. Every pulse of the spire reminded him that they were. The deep black of space stretched endlessly, dotted with stars that flickered like distant flames. On the edge of a quiet sector, the human outpost Orion 9 floated silently, its metal frame creaking slightly as it adjusted to the faint pull of a nearby moon. Commander Elias Varn, a seasoned officer with years of experience in deep space missions, leaned over the console, staring at the blinking lights of the communications panel. For days, Orion 9 had been scanning the sector for unusual activity, hoping to detect any signs of alien life or lost signals from old exploratory ships. The void had been quiet, too quiet. Space was supposed to hum with energy, debris, and faint transmissions, but Orion 9 had sensed none of that. Until now. A sharp, piercing tone suddenly broke the monotony, echoing across the silent corridors. Elias' head snapped up. The signal was unlike anything they had encountered before. Raw, urgent, and faintly human in pattern, almost like a call for help. "Commander, we're picking up something. Very unusual," said Lieutenant Mara Kess, her fingers dancing over the console as the signal pulsed across the screens. "It's not any known frequency, and it's repeating." Elias narrowed his eyes. "Show me the data." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a distorted message repeating in an endless loop. The words were garbled, almost indecipherable, but the tone screamed desperation. Mara frowned. "It sounds like a distress call, but not from any sector we've charted. Whoever sent this, it's far out, beyond even the mapped regions. And, Commander, I have to warn you, this signal has traces of technology we've never seen before." Elias felt a chill crawl along his spine. For years, humans had explored beyond their home systems, encountering strange anomalies, abandoned colonies, and remnants of civilizations that had disappeared long before humans could even imagine them. But this felt different. There was intention behind the signal, a sense that someone or something was in real trouble. "Prep a scout team," Elias ordered, his voice steady but tight. "I want a full analysis. Trace the origin if possible." He paused, eyes lingering on the distant stars beyond the station's viewports. "And alert Command. If this is real, we could be looking at the first real contact with intelligent life. Or something far worse." Minutes passed like hours as the team worked. The signal grew stronger, its urgency palpable, vibrating through the station like a heartbeat. Mara frowned, rubbing her temple. "Commander, I'm not sure. This could be dangerous. The signal isn't just calling, it's almost like it's warning us." Elias did not reply immediately. His mind raced through possibilities. Distress calls were rare, Most were automated, emergency beacons left behind on failing ships. But this had the precision of someone alive, aware, and expecting someone to respond. And in deep space, waiting could mean the difference between survival and annihilation. Finally, the analysis came through. The source was located near a small, uncharted system at the far edge of human-explored space. The planet was small, icy, and seemingly barren, with a thin atmosphere barely holding together. Orbital scans showed signs of structures, ruins of buildings, broken machinery, and faint energy readings that hinted at life. Or at least something that had been alive not long ago. Elias rubbed his jaw. Prepare the reconnaissance shuttle. I want to see what or who is sending this. He turned to Mara. And keep this internal. Command may need confirmation before sending a fleet. This is not just a routine mission anymore. Whatever is out there, it could change everything we know about the galaxy. The crew moved quickly, tension high. As the shuttle detached from Orion 9, the signal seemed to grow louder, more insistent, almost like it was pulling them toward the planet. The stars outside stretched into long streaks as the shuttle accelerated through the void, and Elias felt the familiar mix of fear and excitement that came with venturing into the unknown. Look at that, Mara whispered, pointing at the display. The shuttle's sensors had picked up something moving on the planet's surface. A shadow, swift and enormous, disappearing behind jagged rocks. The scans showed signs of structures unlike any human design. Towering spires glowing with a soft alien light, partially ruined, but still active. Elias's heart pounded. We're not alone, he murmured. And whoever or whatever is down there, they want to be found. For a moment, the shuttle fell silent, carrying its passengers toward a mystery that had echoed across the stars for who knew how long. Somewhere below, a call for help waited. Desperate, ancient, and perhaps far more dangerous than anyone aboard the Orion 9 could imagine. The unknown was calling, and humanity was about to answer. The reconnaissance shuttle cut through the blackness of space, its small engines leaving faint trails of light as it neared the uncharted system. Commander Elias Varn sat forward, eyes glued to the viewscreen where the icy planet below grew larger with every second. Jagged mountain ranges and deep craters carved the surface into sharp lines, reflecting the pale light of the distant sun. Something about the planet felt wrong. Shuttle approaching orbit, Marquez reported, her voice tight with tension. Scanners are picking up energy readings across the surface. Not all of it natural. Some kind of machinery. Maybe abandoned. Or maybe still active. Elias clenched his jaw. Keep the shields up. And keep scanning for life forms. We don't know what's down there. As the shuttle descended into the thin, icy atmosphere, a shiver ran through the crew. The temperature was extreme, even for human suits, and the wind buffeted the small craft as if warning them to turn back. Despite the danger, the signal persisted, pulsing like a heartbeat from below. Commander, Mara said, pointing at the display. Look at this. The screen showed movement. Something large moving swiftly across the ruins scattered across the frozen plains. At first it looked like a shadow, shifting behind the remains of tall alien spires. The readings were inconsistent, sometimes disappearing completely, as if the object knew it was being watched. Elias felt a chill in his stomach. Not natural. That's not just debris. Something is alive down there, and it's big, much bigger than anything we've encountered. The shuttle touched down on a jagged plateau. The metal feet crunched over frost and broken fragments of alien structures. Outside, the landscape stretched like a frozen battlefield, broken towers and glowing ruins scattered across the plain. The signal pulsed more insistently now, as if it were guiding them towards something, or warning them away. Elias stepped out first, boots crunching against the ice. His breath fogged in the frigid air, and the quiet was almost unbearable. Not a sound of wind, not a bird, not even a distant rumble, just silence, and the signal, pulsing in a steady rhythm through their communicators. Stay alert, he warned the team. I want eyes on everything. Anything unusual, report immediately. Mara moved close, scanning the structures with her portable device. Commander, these buildings, they're unlike anything human. Look at the architecture. Curved spires, glowing lines. I've never seen anything like it. And some parts still have energy running through them. Not just ruins. Something is keeping them alive. Before Elias could reply, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Small rocks skittered across the plateau and a low, vibrating hum filled the air. The signal had intensified, sharper, faster, almost like a warning. "Commander, movement," Mara whispered. She pointed to the shadows in the distance. Something was moving along the crumbled walls, large and sleek, almost liquid in shape, disappearing behind the alien spires before they could get a clear view. Elias tightened his grip on his sidearm, though he hated the thought of violence at a first contact. Whatever it is, it's watching us, and it knows we're here. They advanced cautiously, scanning for life forms and traps. The ruins were littered with broken machinery, some pulsing faintly with energy, others completely silent. Every step they took echoed against the icy ground, yet the signal called them onward, leading them to a massive central spire rising like a jagged tooth into the gray sky. Mara's eyes widened. "Commander," the main building. "Look at this. It's not just a structure, it's alive. The energy patterns are forming, almost like a heartbeat, and the signal is coming from there." Elias swallowed hard. "We need to be careful. Whatever is inside, it could be hostile, or it could be in trouble. Either way, we need to know before it's too late." As they approached, the ground trembled again, stronger this time. The shadow they had seen earlier darted between the spires, moving with impossible speed. It stopped, just beyond their vision, as if studying them. The signal pulsed violently, almost screaming now. It was more than a call, it was a plea, urgent and desperate. Elias felt it in his chest, a mix of fear and curiosity. Whatever, or whoever, was down there, it wanted them to come closer. The crew paused at the edge of the spire's base. The air shimmered with energy, and a strange warmth seemed to radiate from the structure. Elias took a deep breath. "We go in, stay together, and keep your eyes open. We are not alone, and this mission is about to get dangerous." As they stepped toward the glowing doorway, the shadows shifted once more. Something massive was moving just out of sight, faster than the human eye could track. And for the first time, Elias realized that the call for help was not just a signal in space. It was a trap, a warning, and possibly the start of something much bigger than any human could imagine.